Hello everyone! Okay, so this is CJ. I couldn't be there with you tonight because I had other obligations, unfortunately, that came up. In my plan, the world was going to work around me and what I expected, and the world was like, ha ha ha, joke on you, girl. So here I am because I like my job, and I would like to keep my job. So this is my way to try to make up for not being at class tonight. So hopefully Dr. Hall gives me a little leeway with time to kind of make up for the fact that I won't be able to be there and do commentary during the rest of the presentations or answer questions and whatnot. Okay, so as far as the format or the new technology I'm using, it really isn't that new. Pretty much anyone and everyone has used it, and it is using a webcam. So you can use it in all these different outlets to convey whatever message you want to have out there, and believe it or not, just these little pieces can actually be the building blocks of that community that you're a part of, or actually add on to what you do. Because through personalization, how are you going to access this information? You can choose that for yourself. What is the format? There's that personalization and how you access that information. Okay, the individual development. Okay, it's pretty much how do you utilize this information that I'm sharing with you from my video. Is it a step-by-step thing where you're like, okay, I gotta keep rewinding back, make sure I don't miss anything? Or are you taking pieces of that information and are you internalizing that? Are you taking these pieces of information and deciding that you're gonna share it with the world? Are you gonna make sure you look at this information objectively or subjectively? Something else that was mentioned was multi-membership. It kind of is what it is. Like I was saying, across the board, you can find ways to actually share this information in different social media realms. You can actually take this from one spot and put it, take the tape, download it onto your lap. Oh my gosh, a tape? What am I in the 1990s? Oh my god, I'm so sorry. I apparently need coffee and sleep at the same time. Okay, we're gonna just keep moving. Let's just move on to diversity of ideas. It'll get better, okay? And when you talk about the diversity of ideas, that is so beyond important when you're using this realm. Again, you have one version of this information coming to you from, the depths of my brain. It's kind of crazy in there. So keep in mind, whatever you put out there, everyone has access to forever. Even when you erase it, there's still some traces of whatever you put out there in the social media world. Okay, so be very much aware of that. So let's talk about those diverse ideas and kind of going beyond it. Yeah, this is one-dimensional. I'm sending you this information. It's kind of an open-ended conversation to start with. What's nice is when I post this, years and years and years down the line, someone else can add comments like, wow, that girl is crazy. Something else I think is really awesome when you can get a conversation going is you just end up being surprised sometimes by where the conversation goes. It starts at one place and then all of a sudden it's way out there, right? For example, I'll have a little bit of activity. I'll say a little bit because I'm not that famous yet. I'll have a little bit of activity on my different media outlets, and what you will find is that folks will, respond to some video I did that probably had no huge significance in the world, but then all of a sudden you have someone that's trolling, those anonymous people, we all do it on Facebook where we just stalk people for a little bit and we're like, oh, that's what you had to say, huh? That's all right. And then you go have a conversation with someone else about what was just said, and you'll never really post that online because you don't want anyone to know that you posted it or that you even read that. Yeah, it's like that. So I'll have someone that's trolling what I'm doing, especially in one of my YouTube videos, and be like, oh my gosh, so and so did this, and all of a sudden they shine this bright light on what you said, and then it's like this magical knowing thing that happens, and all of a sudden another conversation is sparked up that probably had absolutely nothing to do with the video that you posted in the first place, and that's okay. Okay, that's diversity of ideas. You're learning and growing. It is a process. Next piece, the conversation that goes beyond just that one medium. I appreciate the fact that when you use recordings, it's a format that can be shared across so many different areas. It's not just solid YouTube, it's not just solid Insta, it's not just solid Twitter, it's not just solid Tumblr. You can post it pretty much anywhere you can post a link and show it to the world. You can even download it and put it onto your laptop and show it to someone else as another learning tool or activity. So that's essentially the piece that I use. I was going to talk about open-ended conversations. And I was really just going to touch on the fact that I never really meet any of these people. Where we meet is online, and we have conversations that start and stop and start and stop, and then I'll never hear from you from like 2 years, and you're like, oh yeah, remember when? And I'm like, no, but I'm gonna look in my archives, and then I will remember when we, had our conversations and what we talked about. Okay. So anyway, I'm just gonna end it there because this has gone long beyond what we're actually supposed to do. But that is my presentation. How do you do it? You get a webcam, record yourself, get some kind of recording, something or another, editor, edit it, post it somewhere. The end.